Well, we have done the installation. Now the next step is to set up our environment, and that is done using Gcloud init command. So it's checking the network connection, and now it's asking us to log in. So it's set up quite differently, and I actually like it about Google and Azure, that you don't just create keys and leave them somewhere on your machine that can be used by anybody. So let's see how does this do it. So this is the account that I'm using currently. So as I click on it, it's going to ask me the usual, do you agree? And we don't really have a choice but to agree. So there we are. Now the first project that got created under Google Cloud, it didn't have this weird name, but let's take the single clock 26146. Okay, and now the project has been set to single clock 261416, which corresponds to my first project. Now, do you want to set a default compute region on zone? So we do US Central 1. So keep using the US Central 1 just because I have done it before. Oh, it's asking if I want to set a default region. Okay, now we want the code for US Central 1A, which will be 8. And we're using the zone, but based on that is going to set the region automatically. So if we want to see, basically it's saying your Google Cloud SDK is configured and ready to use. Okay, so to find out which configuration you're working with right now, what you can do is say Gcloud config list, and this is the configuration that currently exists. It's the default configuration, which it tells you at the very bottom, and part of the default configuration, your core is account Johnny Rebates, uses reporting false, and the project is single clock 261416. And these are the regions. Now, if you want to create another configuration, if you're working with a different project, just like we had two different, I actually didn't show you guys, but you can have, you can use multiple usernames to set up multiple profiles in AWS as well. So let's do it here also. So once again, we're going to do Gcloud init. And it's asking us this time, do you want to reinitialize the default setting or do you want to create a new one? So we're going to create a new one. And it's asking the configuration name. So as usual, Killer Joe. And now it's going to ask us, do you want to log into the same account or do you want to log into a different account? So I can use a completely different Google account as a second setup configuration, but I'm just going to use our current one and use a different project. And here, that garbage project that I created a few minutes ago, that's showing here. In the console, it looks Killer Joe project, but the project ID shows up here, and that's why the project ID and project name should be same. And so once again we are set. It didn't let me set the zone and region. So now we can check Gcloud configurations and list. So we have two profiles that are being set up and that we can use when you want to work with the single clock project. You would use the default profile. When you want to work with this project, you would use the Killer Joe profile. Alright, so the second project doesn't show a region for its set, so I'm going to set that with this command gcloud config set. Then the second command that I'm going to use is to set the zone, and then we look at our configurations, and this is the configuration we have.